recording. Just in case, for whatever crazy reason, I want to actually revisit talking to you. I don't know why I would want to do that, Schizzy, but you know.
Stream highlights, easy. Most controversial thing said yet.
Clickbait. You were
Clickbait.
You know, the show was so crazy you won't believe what happened next. All of that sort of stuff, eh?
It's all fantastic and good.
Indeed. Cool. Well, we are live apparently, which is good. So, to anyone that exists in this universe that may be out there, CS greetings, CS:GOers. Assuming you're into CS:GO. In an earlier time slot this week, we're going to just give it a couple minutes, as is traditional, before we actually start the show, just so people can join. And look at that, we've got Nelson in chat already. So,
of course, you have Nelson.
Please get me banned on YouTube. Because, like, you know, he says things, eh? I've heard that he says things. I've even heard him say those things in person before.
Yeah, Nelson has no filter.
That's true. That's very true.
If I were to tell you that he laughed for at least 10 minutes yesterday about a joke about a barrel, and it ended up making me laugh, and then this is in the middle of practice, and we end up just laughing for at least 10, 20 minutes straight. To the point where
about a barrel.
Sounds like a great joke, though.
It really wasn't. It was nobody laughed except for Nelson, and then we all laughed because how he was just losing it. It really. Zido stood on a barrel and backstab and said, "You're such a barrel," and apparently people found that hilarious.
And that was it. Eh? It's just like everybody lost the shit.
Oh no, he says, "Is that a metaphor saying you're a barrel?" No context to that. No context.
There is no context to that.
Like, well, what do you say? And then Nelson was just laughing, and I ended up laughing at him laughing.
He does have one of those infectious laughs, though, we'll say. You know.
No. If once you hear Nelson like actually full on laugh, it's I don't know. It's one of the funniest things. And then because it sounds like he's starting to do some evil laughter or something, like he just did something that he wasn't supposed to.
In its defense, alcohol has something to do with it. Yeah, well, true.
Is it?
Alcohol during games. Hey Ash, hey Nick, good to have you guys here as well. Just gonna give it another couple minutes, and we'll go. Schizzy, I like that. That was the best. Why is it Schizzy and not Schizzy? I've got to ask. You know why?
I have a perfectly good reason why. So it actually started out in Battlefield 3 when I was just going through a ton of nicknames to try and find out. So I had a friend that was called It's Rizzy. So I wanted to troll him. It's Schizzy, and it just kind of stuck. And Schizzy the whole time.
Why did you spell it with a C though?
Look, it was late one night, and I was just too lazy to change it. Ever since, I was just too lazy to change it. I was like, it is now Schizzy. I'm like, but it's pronounced Schizzy. I'm like, but now I will make it Schizzy. I will change the language. It is mine. It's my reality, not yours.
My name, well, I mean, Zipex has tried that, but that's never caught on. He's like, it's Zipex, and it's like, Zipnix is so much better. It's like, but it's Zipex. Like, I don't care. It's Zipex. Like, Zipnix sounds so much better.
We should have just done that to you, bro. We should have just kept on causing you Schizzy after we initially trolled you, and then it became a thing. It just kind of.
That still is a thing. I still get called Schizzy, and people they just put it they just go SK, then like the rest of the sentence. I was like, okay.
Okay.
If you want to go for it, it's all fun and games. It doesn't get to me.
All fun and games until
somebody
gets hurt.
Just make certain when you play overseas that you go and tell all the casters beforehand how to say it properly, I guess.
First have to get there.
Sure.
Yeah, one day.
One day. Is that still in the plan sometime?
Kinda. I'm doing this more as a hobby than anything, so.
Oh, uncommitted.
If I get the opportunity. Removed instantly.
Muted, banned, all of that stuff, right?
Just an average day in TeamSpeak, really.
Sounds like it. Pretty much what my old team used to be like as well. Like, okay, we tired of you.
Had YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, pretty much. I mean, it was just constantly, trolling and then fighting each other alternatively. So it was good.
I can honestly see that.
Yeah. Yeah, see, it's all
Well,
fun
especially
until
with
it's like 11:30 at night. You just played a bunch of matches, and now you're trying to do like some kind of practice because like you can't before the next big game or whatever. And you're like, "Back it, I'm over this." It's just, that's when the trolling doesn't really. It's not funny anymore.
That's when everybody just gets mad.
Exactly. But I think we've waited long enough. We're gonna get going because we've also got a cast to get to in about an hour. So I think we waited long enough. CS greetings, CSGOers, and assorted people in chat who may or may not be CSGOers. We hope that you are. This is CSGO Deeper, sponsored by Aperture PC. I'm Extremes, and with me this week, as always, is Profeci. And not as always, the new guy, the extra special guest, because he's very, very special. It's Schizzy.
I don't know how I feel about being called very special, but I'll take it.
I didn't call you a vegetable, so I mean, we didn't. It wasn't that bad.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Don't try and deny it.
But I mean, Sasko Sam told me I was special. Does that mean I've got a problem that I got to go sort out? Damn.
Jeez. Okay.
Sucks.
Special can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing, as it turns out. But in my case, I do. In my defense, you are actually a good thing. But I did call you a thing, so I guess that didn't help either. Anyway,
I'm not even gonna comment on that. I'll just make more drama.
more drama, yeah. Drama. That was the word repeated several times today, but we're not going to delve into any of that. I think we're going to just outlay a little bit of the itinerary for tonight. I guess we'll start with some of the international stuff. We usually start with some local news and then go to talking to our guests, and then we'll do the international stuff. Today we'll start with the international stuff and then talk with our guests because we can just cut them off and go cast our game.
Easy.
Sure.
Oh, the shade that is being thrown, it is so bad, but, so good as well. Somehow. But anyway, let's delve into a little bit of the news of the week, I guess, in CSGO. And one of them is that Electronic has joined Navi. That came out not too long ago. Thorin already got a video out about it. And, of course, there's lots of tweets in cyberspace about Electronic joining Navi. So I'll put it to you guys. Jiz, what do you think about it? Is he going to make Navi better?
I don't know. Like a person can look like a superstar in a team that's kind of underperforming, but once you put him in a team that is full of superstars, he might just be content and just become really average. But it is a meme that everybody's suddenly happy that came out. So I'm having fun watching it.
We'll see how it develops. What do you think, Sean?
I think he's going to work decently. I mean, his skill level seems like he might survive. It's just, can he hang at that level? Because he hasn't really played a lot at the lower level. I mean, at the higher levels. We've seen him at the major. He looked pretty solid there. But, that Navi team is in a bit of a mess. Can he join that team and make something happen? I mean, hopefully. I think they do have other issues, but Electronic certainly seems like he can hold his own. Just, can he deal with Simple when Simple's raging his tits off? Because that's always the question.
That is a good one, actually.
That joke, though. There's a joke always about it. So if you're good, Simple likes you. If you're not, Simple doesn't like you.
Pretty much.
Fair enough.
I guess he doesn't like any of his team at the moment then, but he's been a hard guy to deal with in the past. It looks like he's a little bit better, but now than he was. I mean, than maybe Team Liquid days, but we have to see, because Electronic also, he hasn't actually been a superstar player yet. Like, people are talking about him like he is, but he's just been really good. But he is young, so it's possible that he can be the second star in the team. But let's face it. I mean, in any team, you're not really going to be a better star than Simple. It's going to be pretty tough.
It's not many. There's not many that are going to be, shine brighter than that kid.
This is true. Let's see. So, I mean, at the same time, the other thing that's also happened is he's joined F3 as, part of like a trade, basically, because he's still contracted to Navi until the end of the year. So it's like, okay, well, yeah, you play with him.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work.
Do we even know if he's happy joining Flipside? Like, I haven't seen anything. Like, for all we know, this kid could be really upset, but it's not really like he has much of a say.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, these are like Russian orgs where they're just like, okay, we're doing this, but I don't want to. We're doing this, and you're going to play there now. I mean, I think Flipside's probably the best team he would be able to join. I think the only real other option would maybe be Hellraisers, but there's that obvious story that Navi and Hellraisers do not see eye to eye, so I can't see that ever happening. So I think Flipside's probably the best team he can join, and that's probably the likely. Like we'll see whether he can actually still be a good player on that team, because he'll be put into Blade's system, and Blade should be able to, at the very least, make him function. And I think we'll see there if he's able to recapture that form that he was in before he was moved to in-game leader.
Let's see how it works out. Of course, Flipside always make it to the major somehow, regardless of who's playing in the team. It's basically Blade, Markelov, and whoever the other three are. So
yeah,
they always make it. So let's see if they do this time. It seems more unlikely than it has ever before, I think, but you never know. Let's see if the run continues. The other one we can mention briefly, Dignitas, lol, basically. Jacob out of there, Esselian out of there, and then they got the original guys they were playing with way back at the beginning. I think it's Croman and I can't remember the other guy's name, but they went from winning Epicenter last year with the current North lineup, then got this lineup not too long ago, and it's just done nothing. So dropping bigger name players.
Dignitas is one of those orgs that's done very, very well in terms of like previously being able to like get a team to a decent level and selling them off. So I think they're like, I mean, I'd say that they're a very good idea to look at if you're an org, sort of outside the top level in, I mean, even in South Africa, just to see how you can, build up a team and then basically sell them off, and then build up a team and then sell them off. And it's a nice way to make money. I mean, Dignitas has got tons of money actually behind them. They have
the 76ers, is it?
Yeah.
The football team?
76ers. So is it a football team or is it a basketball team?
I don't know. I know there's the 76ers and the 69ers, and I'm not sure which way around it is.
Yeah, it's a sports team from America that's behind them. So I suppose there's a decent amount of money behind them, but Dignitas has always been one of those teams that like they pick up and comers and build the best that they can out of them. So it's mostly the same. I mean, the team is still kind of crap. I mean, Fox, Rubinho, Lowell, Croman, and Zeves.
Jeez. Yeah, sure.
I mean, Lowell's okay, but
the rest of them.
Reposilian again. And JK again.
Again, yeah. Doesn't seem to be working for them. Of course, we do have the graphic designer for Dignitas in chat, which is funny, Nick. So
Nick.
That's not going to feel good. Sorry, man. Sorry. We had to have a dig at them, though. I mean, it's all in fun, of course. And there's the America's Minor, which happened. I mean, this weekend's tournaments, it didn't feel as epic as like Epicenter or any of the IEMs or ESL events that we've seen at iLeague or all that sort of thing. It was much smaller events. Solid tried to be a big event, but I don't think people were all that excited for it after how epic Epicenter actually was. So we'll look at the America's Minor. Let me bring it up on the browser here for you guys, just so you can kind of see a little bit of what's up there. But looking at it, you got Team Liquid, you got Misfits, and I mean Liquid pretty much should have won that tournament all day, every day, forever, basically. If they'd lost this, well, then they've got major problems.
Misfits was a lot better than we expected going into that event. A couple of their players did, much better than usual. I mean, I saw some crazy runs coming out of Shazam, so that's always like one of those, like you kind of flip the coin and you hope it lands on heads. Because when he's on, he's ridiculous, but when he's off, which I think is a little bit more common, he kind of falls off. So I mean, Liquid actually lost Misfits, and then beat them in the final again. So yeah, I don't know. Like I think Liquid probably did deserve to win overall. But Misfits did a lot better. I mean, they had that one crazy, I don't know if you guys saw it, that was an execute that they did with decoys. They like throw the decoys, and because like the top level players are like, okay, they see decoys coming in, so they like start throwing the flashes and the mollies and all the rest. And then it's just like another comes, and they're like, what's going on here? And I think it's like a fake. So they like run back, like I think they waited like 10 or 15 seconds as Liquid's about to like rotate. then the execute comes with the smokes and mollies. It's just like debated so hard.
Don't even think Liquid would be mad for losing that round. They'll just be like, what is happening?
Yeah,
I would be like, what is happening? Like, I wouldn't know what to do after that. I was just like, okay, cool. Delete CS. I'm leaving. I'm gone.
Yeah,
I mean, if we think about it, it was Sean Gears that actually pioneered most of the the heavy molly usage these days. In that 2015 Cloud9 run in the summer, like they actually calculated something that like he was like something like 20% more effective if they could have mollies in their buys, and if they didn't have mollies, like they were way worse at actually breaking open sites. So I mean, clearly the guy does figure out tiny little edges on his teams, because his teams generally don't have the same kind of firepower that others do. So it's nice to see that he makes do with what he has.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to answer Christopher's question, we spoke about the electronic transfer. Actually, the very first thing we spoke about. So you can get to the VOD and get that if you got some time. When it does upload, it'll go up straight after we're done with this in the next hour. And then question for Schizzy. I will ask that question when we go there. We're going to go there in about 10 minutes in this conversation. We'll ask all those sorts of questions. So definitely ask your question there, Mr. Benjamin. So the other tournament, of course, was the EU minor as well. And again, it's got minor in the name. It's a big tournament, but it's not big in the grand scheme of things in terms of money or anything like that. It's really about securing the berth to the major qualifiers. So it was, of course, in the Americas minor, it was Misfits and Liquid that would have made it right to the major qualifier. And then on the other side, you got Space Soldiers and Envious. Let me actually just switch to the browser view here so you guys can see said thing. And yeah, well, Space Soldiers finally winning an offline tournament. What the heck? Usually they tend to be better online than offline, but winning a tournament, Envious coming second, Optic not really making it anywhere. And I mean, God sent in a pretty lowly 5th to 6th, which is kind of worrying.
Yeah, that's very, very worrying. I mean, I think it's the first time they didn't even make it out of the group. A Go beat them, which is just like, what?
Yeah, craziness. And here in the actual final, Zentaras had a crazy game, but in the game before that, I think it was against Optic that actually got them the major qualifier berth. It was Calix who was going crazy, but normal service resumed with Zentaras getting the 1.76 rating, 52 kills, 120.5 ADRs. This is insane numbers.
But did you guys see 5x clutch there? How insane that was. And then one of the, I'm not sure which Space Soldiers player it was, walked right past him. But because of 4x3, he didn't notice that he walked right past him, and 5x just shot him in the back. It was all over Reddit. It was actually super funny. You had that in loop the whole time. Yeah.
I still want to know why players stick to something like 4x3 when it's legitimately been proven that things like 16x10 and 16x9 are actually better.
I got told today it's because of input lag, and I was like, I feel no input lag.
That's why you're terrible, Shiz. That's why I'm bad as well, and Prof's bad. We all play 16-9. Bunch of shitters we are.
Cass and I think are the only two people in my team that play full HD.
Yeah, I kind of did 4-3 for a long time. Like, I mean, in 2015, I played probably 4-3 for half of the DGL season, and and I was at the finals. I was playing in 16-9, and I didn't really notice a hell of a difference except for the FPS, personally.
Yeah.
And also not getting shot in the side of the head sometimes from about a 45-degree angle that you can't see the dude.
That's so silly, like his barrel sticking out, but you can see it on 16x9. You're like, hello, do you see him? And it's like, no, sorry, 4x3 black bars. Like, okay, cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Why?
FPS.
Because I saw some pro use it. Like, that's what some pro use it. Like, that's a great. Yeah. That's dead. That's fantastic.
Like regardless, because that pro's been playing since CRTs were a thing.
That was my argument today as well. It's like, he's like, why do most pros use 4x3? I'm like, it's because they're used to it. Most of those pros were playing when they were children. And like nowadays, when a kid picks up a PC, he's not going to be like, oh, I want to go 4x3. He's going to be playing at 1080 because that's normal for him.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a huge part of the question as well. It's just what are you used to? So, I mean, here's a question we can probably answer now quickly before we move on, because, I mean, again, not a hell of a lot to talk about the minor, I don't think. What do you think about VNR's splitting after doing so well? And what do you think about some of the teams not being paid yet? Well, we don't know that, but we can definitely look into that not being paid yet thing. Did you get paid there, Mr. Shizmaster?
I got my money.
Okay, well, maybe it
I got
really
it.
is.
I know
quickly.
DC's been paid out as well.
Yeah, I heard that
Yeah,
too.
that's
So maybe it's just the sum of the teams sort of thing. So definitely we'll keep an eye on that. But first part of the question, what do you think about VNR splitting after doing so well? Well, I mean, we don't really know what the internal team politics were there, because I mean, it's kind of hard to
The
say.
team-
Bananas came back for what,
The
one
team was
tournament?
also, I mean, wasn't the team put together about 2 weeks before Rage as well?
So
Only bananas coming in. Only bananas coming in. They removed
Oh.
Viper.
All right.
Man,
So
it
yeah,
was,
but Bananas was basically brought out of retirement. To be fair, I mean, I think the VNR team did well for what they had, but I didn't see. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't really see any long term prospects for that team.
I know Brad's
Which I-
insane. Which is
No.
nobody needs
Brad
to
is
say
certainly
that.
insane. But I mean, we all know that Brad has retired twice this year. That he's no, he's not really keen. So, I mean, when he comes out and when he's firing, he's an absolute beast. But it's
Yeah.
just you gotta wonder. It's when he's not fired, when he's not fired up, is is he still that same level of monster? Is the real question. And can you deal with it on a team? I know certain guys are driven and they can't deal with guys that are here and there on whether they really want to play consistently either.
Yeah, we had him sub for season 1 of the ESL for Flipside.
Mhm.
And even when he was having a really bad game, his communication's really good. As a player, I fully respect that man. He's quite professional when he works in a team.
And
Alright,
he's
okay.
like one of the more explosive players that we've ever had, basically, in terms of just being able to do insane things that shouldn't work, basically.
Just remember, his closing off of season 1 was the no scope through a wall, a headshot in vent. Remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Yes.
You should have heard him in TeamSpeak. He was at first he was super calm about it, and then he was like, "What the fuck?" He loses it. And he was there what happened? He's like, "Just open the stream and go look." And we just see it, and we're just like, "I don't understand how." Guy wasn't even
No,
tagged, just headshots him clean off.
I think Brad is one of those players that when he gets going, he will take over a whole game. And unless you have somebody that can go as ham as him, you're going to have a very, very rough day at the office. So, yeah, when he's dialed in, I think he might be one of those players he's the least, he's one of those players that you'd least like to play against when he's dialed in. He just
I don't
seems
like
an
playing
absolute
against him,
beast.
my word.
He's literally the most annoying player I've ever played against. It's just because you don't know where he is on the map. He'll be at one point, then he'll be at another point. Next moment, he's behind you, and just how? It's annoying because you consistently have to check behind you, and you get punished when you don't. That's the thing why I hated when he was on VNR actively playing, and we had to scrim them. It was incredibly annoying because we'd sort of figure out what the team was doing, and sort of be able to counter that. But then you get Brad literally on the other end of the map just killing everybody. And just
Bananas has got his own plan going on at the same time.
now, what do we do now? He just shot 2 people in the back. We completely opened the bomb site, and we used our util. They used theirs, but now they have a full bomb site for free, and we're just okay, cool, nice guys, let's save.
So to answer the overarching question, I think the VNR thing really was just put together in that particular team in that particular way for that tournament. I don't think there was any long-term plan from what I could see that it was going to stick around. So
From
And
what
then-
I heard, internally, it wasn't long term. They weren't planning on long term.
So, I mean, you've also seen the core of that team go to WRG, which I think a lot of people aren't aware of. Zio is actually at WRG, and we're going to be casting a WRG versus Energy right after this at 8 o'clock. So you guys can watch that, and you can see what the core of that team actually does. Because, I mean, it was Light and Zio that's moved over. There's Casimir, Fat Cakes, and I think Puffy is still in that team as well. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Every time we scrim them, there's been a new fifth. So I don't know.
Yeah. According to ESEA, they have 10 teams
10
or
people
10
in
players.
the team, yeah.
Yeah, Sinner, Fat Cakes, Grems, Hulkies, Casimir, Light, Sean Puffy, Synoptical, Okay, Switch is in there. I don't know why. Olvane would definitely not be playing CS and Zero.
not the Nova 4 here. It's not going to happen. Do we agree with the HLTV world ranking? Not on every point, but considering they use a point system, it's not the end of the world. It's relatively accurate as far as that sort of thing goes. It won't 100% take into account recent form, but there is a calculation in the formula for that, so it's pretty close. It's pretty close. I think.
Oh, it's good. There's nothing really wild about. I mean, it's better than nothing. I'll put it that way. And it's like better than just like, oh, this team did well at the last tournament, therefore they go to the top. So I think, especially given that they don't really take into account online play and they use I think it's a 3-month rotating period. So yeah, I mean, it's about as good as you could get unless you really want to get super complicated with how you calculate points and stuff. So
yeah, it's hard to understand already how it's calculated. So we'll see that. For the questions, we will answer questions a little bit later. Again, I think we need to move on a bit. Do tell us who is Brad's new team, because I don't actually know. I spoke to Brad yesterday, but he didn't mention his new team. So please let me know who's in that team, and I could definitely ask him about it. From an international tournament's point of view, the last thing we probably look at would be the iLeague Invitational, which was also happening, and I think people were just overallly less interested in it after the epicness of Epicenter. But
yeah,
Virtus Pro.
It's a much lower tournament.
We were joking last week on Deeper that Virtus Pro never win the tournaments that they should. The easy ones, like, I mean, we think of WESG and things like that they should have easily won. Doesn't happen. So, and it happened again. I joked Renegades are going to win it because Heroic tend to not be as good on LAN as they are online. How right could I have been? Renegades won it and Heroic didn't make it to the final.
I mean, I think Heroic screwed themselves a little bit. Like, if you saw their game against Hellraisers, I think they actually threw that game away, which meant they had to. I mean, they qualified in second place, and that meant that they would end up playing Virtus Pro, and I think that's what actually got them knocked out. I think they would have probably made a better fist of the final than VP did. But the problem is that they played VP in the semis, and VP looked still quite fired there. I mean, I think that was where Neo just had some like mental levels of clutch in the one round. I think he like a 1v3 on Mirage or something. So like the problem with Heroic is I still think that like I still don't see what Essetag is all about. Like, I think dropping or losing Valde and getting Essetag, I think, is like really hurt that team, and they need to find somebody that can take over because Yugi is just not consistent enough.
Oh, that's the problem with Essetag as well. He is a really good fragger and he has good performances, like actually in that game, but he's not as consistent as Valde. Because I mean, Valde is like literally always going to get you his 25 kills. That's his thing, consistency.
Yeah.
So looking at the final, we had the VP versus Renegades. I mean, just a week before it was VP also in the final, which they narrowly didn't win. I mean, SK putting on quite a show, VP putting on quite a show. This final, I didn't really feel was all that good a show, really. It wasn't all that close. There weren't too many super exciting bits. I mean, the closest it got to being exciting was on the second map, where VP started to come back a little bit, and then it sort of died off. So.
I mean, it depends on what your version of exciting was. I mean, if you watch Nifty, that guy's probably like the craziest AWPer currently, like watchable. Like, I don't know what the kid takes for breakfast, but he hits some ridiculous shots. There was that one shot where like he pops up the ladder and just like flicks 90 degrees and hits the guy in the head, and you're like, okay. And I mean, like the speed at which he's firing is also insane. So yeah, Nifty, I think Nifty's probably making a better team next year. Like he has to be making a better team next year, Nifty, I think.
No, what do you think of Renegades, Shiz?
Renegades. I don't know much about Renegades other than we all have the same mice. And that was actually the reason I ended up buying mine, was because of them.
You're like, they're an average team
think...
that sometimes does okay. I'll buy the mouse they use.
It's I've been watching Renegades and they're up and down all the time. So you see them sometimes in the greater scale, then you feel like there's matches and maps that they should win, and they just don't win it, and you're like, well, why? And
Yeah, they do
it's
seem
like a bit
flaky. I'll agree
disappointing.
with you.
JKS, I think, is a great player though. Very he's the one guy who is consistent pretty much always. But he's kind of like the Sonic of their team in terms of always, being the guy who's alive. He's clutching. He's getting 2 kills every round. He's doing what he needs to do. But it's it's his style of play. He doesn't take contact early rounds, so yeah, he tends to be alive. But I think Nifty is an amazing AWPer. I think he could be in a better team next year. Although Renegades could also continue getting better and maybe have more of an impact on the scene. But I kind of wonder because this is kind of post good VP blues that usually happens. So is it how much of it was them being good and how much of it was VP after their massive overperformance being terrible? We don't really know. So I guess the next tournament will tell. The only other thing we've really... Oh yeah, sorry.
Who would Nifty go to though is another question. Like which team would pick him up? Who'd need an AWPer?
Liquid. Get rid of the lounger.
You said this before. I don't think Nifty to Liquid would be that good of an idea.
I just wonder the guy's going to sit up straight, man.
Like the reason why. Okay, so let me just lay it out for you, right? The reason why I don't think he'd be that good of a move to Liquid is because Liquid already has Twists and the Heavy Liege, right? Now both those players are pretty crazy in their own respects, and I don't see why you'd want to add another player that's going to require attention onto that team. Because already Twists is he is up and down, but when he's on, he's really, really good. Elysia's pretty much always putting up the numbers, and then with Nitro and what's the other player on Liquid at the moment?
Stan.
Yeah, Stan. The problem is with Nitro and Stan. Nitro is the in-game leader. Stan is something of a lurk. I mean,
he's an information gathering drone.
Is this Rip Profeci?
Yeah, Rip Profeci. Okay, well, let's put words in his
mouth.
I
thought it was me.
I thought it was me for a second as well.
Yeah, I have 4 meg ADSR. I expected this to be a common thing, to be honest. Everybody frees, and I'm just okay, cool. This is fun.
Well, he's also on 4 meg ADSR. At least in his defense, his facial expression isn't as bad as it could have been. So. And he might also drop in and think that nothing happened. That could also be great. So,
that's probably. I think he would have realized by now. He would have been
what if
waiting for a response.
The world's longest monologue about Counter-Strike. Oh, there we go. Now your face is across two screen boxes. This is bad, man. So, guessing his line probably lunched itself. So let's just move you back in the middle here. So we've got a little bit of Schizzy happening. Schizzy, yeah. Well, while we wait for Prof to come back, yeah. I mean, to expand on his points, I do get what he's saying, though. I mean, Nifty is the star player type. Oh, now you're back and you've messed my overlay totally, you bastard.
Again.
It's a pleasure.
What an asshole! Comes wrecks my overlay, then I have to change all the names around and everything. Yeah.
I guess we both have inconsistent 4 meg lines. This is bad, man.
Both of you do. Okay, well, it looks like we're all fixed up again. I mean, the Nifty question is, I guess he does have that sort of star player mentality. He wants to be the guy going and taking contact and being aggressive. So I get where you're coming from, Prof. I do think a coach like Zeus could make him work, but there's also the rumor this week that Zeus's contract might not be renewed after December. So if they don't have Zeus, I don't have huge hope for this team anyway. So because I think he's really the thing making the difference to the team overall. But let's see what happens. I mean, he could improve a number of teams, I think. I mean, even maybe a Cloud9 style team because they're more puggy. That kind of aggressiveness could work. But they're not going to get rid of the turret name Skadoodle. So, why would they do that? Because, I don't know. Although Cloud9 have shown some willingness lately to change players. I mean, in the past, it was no matter how bad you were, you got to stay. So, I guess let's see what happens with that. Let's just quickly check if there's any other questions there. Okay, I think let's look at the one tournament that's coming up this weekend. That's iBuy Power Masters. And it's, again, not a super exciting tournament, but it's not too bad. We've got CLG, Cloud9, Liquid, Luminosity, Misfits, NRG, Optic, and Renegades. And the Optic one is interesting because, that's pretty much a Euro team as opposed to an American team. So they obviously didn't succeed at the EU minor at all. So or was it the EU minor? Sorry, it was the other one. But anyway, I mean, looking at it, it should be between Cloud9 and Liquid for this tournament. I mean, I'm not on the Renegades train just yet. Looking even though they beat VP, I just don't know how bad VP might have been. Where are you guys at with this?
Liquid. Personally, I think Liquid's just going to do it because they're more consistent than Cloud9.
I'll fully agree with Shiz there. Like, I think Liquid is it's like you're going to definitely get more out of them consistently. And the last couple of times they've played Cloud9, they've utterly dumpstered them on most of the maps. So, like, the problem is, like, Liquid has like a beastly powerful map in Inferno to play, and I just, Cloud9 is good, but I don't think they have a map like Inferno in their wheelhouse at the moment. Like, they're not that guaranteed of a win on any of their maps against Liquid as opposed to Liquid is on Inferno.
Totally agree with you there, but we shouldn't be agreeing. Somebody needs to fight, but it looks like we're actually agreeing on this one. So we all think Liquid should take the tournament. I'd imagine it would be Liquid versus Cloud9 in the finals. I'd say probably the semi-finalists are going to be between Misfits, Optic, and Renegades. I'm just not convinced really all that much either by Renegades or Optic.
Imagine the wild card Optic wins the whole thing, and we just all sit here like, okay, cool, that was fun.
Yeah, well, I got to agree with Divo in chat though, where he says rule number 1: don't ever bet on an NA team. I'd agree. Don't do it.
Don't bet.
Yeah, I wouldn't go there. Don't bet in general, but if you're gonna bet, probably bet on like a Danish team to make a semi-final or something like that. That's probably the safest bet in CS:GO.
You say that, but Divo's talking to me asking if you should bet on this game, and it was Envy versus FaZe. And I'm like, well, it's FaZe, so FaZe should win, but knowing my luck, Envious will win. And then that game is the one that Envious won. I'm like, yeah, this is why I don't bet. This is why I don't bet. My luck with this, I'll be like, yeah, this should be a 90%, but I will be the one to fall into the 10 and lose it all.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is the
gamble.
Worst.
Don't bet. Don't touch that stuff.
Cool. So now we get to talk about you. We really do, because we've gotten through all of that news because, well, we've managed it. We made it, team. We made it. Oh, I've just lost the overlay for some reason. Why? Oh, there we go. It's back. Hey, Skype, you bastard. Skype is not my friend. Profeci knows how the levels to which I've gone to.
Skype is no one's friend. Skype is no one's friend. As soon as you understand that, I think your life will be much easier.
Yeah, you're right.
Be happier.
It will be happier with Skype not in it, basically. But yeah, it's a necessary evil. And talking about necessary evils, we've got Schizzy here, who's one of the necessary people in his team to succeed. So let's ask that question before we get lost. The question of why haven't you been playing that well in recent memory?
That's mostly because I haven't been playing the role I have been for most of the year. I'd stepped down to do a supporting role. And probably because even when joining Flipside, the first thing I told James was like, I don't feel confident in how I play anymore. So it's been more of a year just trying to regain that confidence to play. Because I go into games already with like I was going to games with a bit of a negative emotion, sort of being like, I'm probably gonna get destroyed, sort of thing, because it just wasn't playing well. Like especially after Metal State, that for some reason really shook me after that LAN. I just played so poorly that I was just like.
I remember talking to you about it when you moved to Flipside, and you were saying you're taking on a more supportive role. And I remember talking with I think it was with Phantom and who was it? Apocalypse maybe, where we were sitting in the green room at the ESL studios during one of the broadcasts and sort of talking, generally. And I mean, for all of us, it was a little bit of a, wow, this guy's got so much firepower. Why would he be the supporting character? But confidence does play a huge part as a player as to how well you perform. So I mean, I can totally see your side on that. So I mean, it's also, I don't think, entirely fair that people would expect somebody to always be amazing. I mean, you can even look at a guy like Sonic. He wasn't amazing in the South Africa final as much as he's been amazing the whole year. There was that one that he wasn't, and then in people's minds they go, "Oh, Sonic isn't that good after all, is he?" Which is an unfair statement.
Which is actually kind of funny because I've been playing a card with him since the release, and he's actually super good in card as well. I was just like, what is this? I don't understand how one person can be so good in all APS. Even Vady as well, just playing with them, and they're just so good at card. Literally log on an hour later, I subbed for DC for like 2 rounds. I'm like, my aim's off, probably fading in Sonic as well.
No.
I'm just like, I want to know what they were doing because I was over aiming, under aiming, but they were dead on. I speak to Fady afterwards, and my aim was off. Like, not what I was feeling. I was on the other end of that.
Obviously, the decision. Fuck.
Your video's freaking out again, eh? That's a less flattering facial expression.
Not to mention that in flip side, we also had air quotes newer players with well, newer players is a point where they didn't really have the experience. And the thing is, I thought they were carrying more firepower than I was at the moment. So I didn't mind stepping back and supporting them because I felt they were doing a good job with what they were doing.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind, giving Enigma an AK or ADM an AWP or anything like that.
So
Rip Profeci.
Rip Profeci again, eh? Guess
Rip overlay as well.
Yeah, rip overlay. Well, it's okay. We'll just resize your head and make sure you're not too big-headed, but we'll get there. I mean, talking about flip side, you obviously in Ventus first. There was that whole like player payment scandal. We did a video with you. I mean, if anyone wants to check that out, they can go. But it probably wouldn't have a ton of context to it anymore because it was a very hot topic for that week. But I don't think it was. People have remembered too much about that. The move to F3. I mean, it looked very promising. You had some nice players involved there, and it just didn't work out. Why didn't it work out?
Obviously, as I told you previously, I don't want to get into this too much, and the sound just died.
Be as diplomatic as you like. I mean, you don't have to give up all the goods, man.
To be honest, towards the end, as I said, because mostly as well because of just the way the confidence was, as I told you, I was coming into games with a negative mindset. It just started becoming. For me, I felt like afterwards it was causing a bit of a toxic environment as well. So at the end of it, we never all saw eye to eye. We never really got along. So at the end of the day, we were clashing. I was clashing with them big time. We just wouldn't agree on how certain things would be done or how some criticism would be done. And at the end of this, I was like, well, 4 of them get along, and I'm the one fighting them. So I felt like, if anything as well, I'm bringing the team down. If anything, like from the potential they could have with the atmosphere I was creating. So I did initially decide to step down. Initially.
Okay. Well, I mean that's enough of an answer. I don't think we need to dredge too much up there. But yeah, I get you. If interpersonally as good, you can be an amazing player and amazing players, but if you don't get on in that sort of sense, it's always going to be an uphill struggle. So yeah, I get you on that, man. I think it came as a bit of a surprise to a lot of people, but also not that much, just because the team overall wasn't sort of living up to what we'd known Flipside could be. So
not our expectations either.
Yeah, I imagine you guys were probably looking at doing a lot better than where you guys were. I think that season it ended up being pretty awful overall. Like what, 7th, 8th place equal with XTC, was it?
It was with XTC, I think it was at that tournament.
Yeah,
that season I think it was equal to XTC. We played horrible. We placed horribly, sadly. And then we had high expectations because we were like, okay, the 2 subs that helped us out as Aaron and Brad. So we thought, okay, it's gonna get a bit better now because we're gonna be able to practice more. It's more of a team now going into the season than sort of what a mixed team was. And sadly, it just didn't work out at all. Like it was incredibly unfortunate.
Yeah, that happens, man. It happens. Talking about things happening, Profeci's line has now officially died, so I guess it's just the 2 of us for this last bit. Let me see if I can switch it to a better overlay for. Do we have? Yes, we do have an overlay for just the two of us. Look at that. That's perfect. So just let me know if there's any audio issues or anything, guys. I think it should be fine, but going to just make sure. Cool. So just the two of us for this portion, hey. And hello, we Chips and Astro. Good to see you guys here. Jason as well. Good to have you guys. All the regulars are here. So very nice having you guys here. And I mean, if you got any questions for Schizzy, you can pop it in. We got probably another 15 minutes or so. So you know, definitely can ask him anything you want to ask him, and just don't be a dick. That's just a general rule for life. So let's not do that. Ask, you know, taking it onto the Aperture team. What attracted you to joining Aperture in the first place?
Diver, ex-teammate from Divine, and
DVN, yeah.
it was a sort of a time where we were really doing well or getting somewhere to the point, you know, my boost in CS was being picked up from Black Ops 3 straight to WIG with Stain and friends of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, after that, it didn't work out too well with the whole team itself. People were leaving to other MGOs. So obviously, the MGOs said, you know, goodbye, because, you know, it's completely understandable. You know, I did ask, you know, is there a chance you guys would let me out? And he said, you know, it's no problem. Alvain's always been super helpful. So after that, I thought I was going to basically take a bit of a break till the end of the year or so and see what happens. And then I spoke to Diver, mentioned it, and he mentioned it to his team, and they chatted and eventually joined the lineup.
Well, I mean, it's I was actually looking at some of your old pictures with you guys standing there, Divo and Kron, and everybody from DV and Knights, because you guys were super dominant. You particularly as a player were super dominant that year in DGC. I think you dropped 40 in the final, if I recall, on one of the maps. So.
I remember it's a meme. It was I think against it was called the Ballers team.
Yes,
it was XD Ballers at that side with Crucial and Spaz and them on the side. And I think I got 39 that game, and I always got memed on because I never got 40. I choked on the last 2 rounds, couldn't get a single kill.
Oh,
it's always been a meme.
That's the worst one.
The final, I got destroyed by Custom Z, Maniac.
Okay, yes, it was the semi. I don't even remember because I just remember hanging with some of the Ballers crew at the after party, you know, where Red Eye was and everything, and getting progressively more hazy as to the details of anything, because that's what happens at an after party. So I just remember the 40 frags thing, but I couldn't remember who it was or what it was about, except that your name was attached to it.
And it's forever a meme. Today we actually still joke about it, because Cass likes to throw an insult, and I'm like, yeah, but your team exited so early out the league when they kept coming first online. And then he says, yeah, but remember how you got destroyed by Ian in the final? And I'm like, feels bad, man. For the life of me, I'll never forget Custom coming out of the squeaky door. He wouldn't even come out the door. He would just shoot me through it. I wouldn't make no sound. He would just shoot me.
His internal trigger bot or something. I don't know, man. But he has so much experience. He just knows the angle. So
Custom is a monster.
That was a weird year though, because I mean, I recall I was still playing until like March that year before I stopped and started doing the casting thing, and I recall playing Ian a couple times that year. It was really weird in Premier Division because there was Masters and then Premier Division with everybody and Energy. So it's like, you know, there was Psycho Pandas there as well, who, you know, Kasparov from your current team is in, and you look at it and go like, we were all relatively competitive with each other, and then there's Energy who just shits on all of us, you know.
It's like Energy pre DGC 2016. It was like, okay, guys, we're doing well against them online. We're taking maps off them online. You get to land, and I was like, hey guys, I got 4 rounds. How about you? No, okay, me neither. I lied. It was 3.
Yeah, it was a really weird situation. I'm glad it normalized for this year that you know, Energy obviously picked up the ex-Carbon guys and they went back into being a Masters team and all of that. So there wasn't this sort of weird thing of this one team, and the first of it was just so much better than everyone else. But you know, or Prem, sorry, it was Prem. But yeah, I mean, for you, I did a video about you at one point, which was interesting.
Yeah, I know. I saw the other video as well. Some idiot made a video about me.
I know, some idiot made a video about you. Do you feel that in looking at your form in late sort of 2016 and early 2017, was it unfair of me to say that you had the potential to be one of those like really standout players that have put like undue pressure on you?
personally, I never really thought I would be one of those players. Though I do feel that my form did drop off a lot. And I said it was mostly like super inconsistency. Like I would maybe have one really good game out of 8 that'd be absolutely destroyed. Now, later this year, was Z-Drag joining the lineup. He's put me back to entry fragger, which was something I played for with most of the 2016 season and beginning of 2017 as well, when I did have what I thought was a really good games. So lately, I have been doing a lot more consistent against better teams, but that's to see if still goes to LAN and does the same thing.
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, one needs to find that consistency. Okay, I'm actually getting your. I just realized it says Profeci under your name, so apologies for that. Let me fix that quickly. Okay, there we go. It's at Schizzy Go, right?
Schizzy go, yeah.
There we go. Cool. Somebody even put up a screenshot of your face on Twitter. Astro did, and you're like blinking in an unflattering manner. You got to go check that out, man.
No, Astro got a free mouse pad off me. Why are you doing this, bro? Why
Yeah,
are you doing
why
this?
is he wrecking you? I don't understand. But I mean, for you, you've been around in a lot of different teams throughout this year, so it's been really difficult to find stability. Do you think you found your home in Aperture now?
Fun fact about Aperture, when they started doing it in 2014, was actually when I fanboyed the hell out of the MGO when Alpha Renzi first went and did it. So it's always been a goal of mine to be under this MGO, and joining it, it's actually been what you could say a dream of mine for the last 2-3 years. So it's kind of really nice, and obviously to interact with the guys that have been here and still friends of the MGO that played for them. So it's really I find it an awesome experience. And Alpha Renzi has been incredibly hospitable. Like he's done everything for me that I've needed. Like for instance, I needed a new case, and he sent me a new case and liquid cooling. No, nothing attached to it. It's mine. He's done a lot for me
That's
personally.
amazing.
Like this is an MGO.
That's really awesome. I mean, he is a stand-up guy, and of course, shout out to Aperture PC, which is his other endeavor, his company. Right. So sponsored by Aperture PC, we'll be bringing you some more prizes and giveaways and stuff for dear viewers for next week. Didn't do anything for this week, but I mean, it's gift enough that we have Schizzy on the show. You guys should be laughing up the experience from Schizzy.
They got scammed. I want my money back too.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody came for the beard, and Schizzy didn't have the beard, so
I shaved that off in November.
Jeez, yeah. I mean, I think people are feeling shortchanged at the lack of beard. I certainly am. Like I wanted to imagine running my fingers through your beard, and now I'm deprived of that. I'm gonna have to go watch that old video.
No, it was actually. I had it actually groomed because Renji told us that we were going to be at the MSI booth. At least be presentable. So I had to actually go and get it completely groomed and everything and shaped and styled. Everything there. I was like, this is so weird. There's another man touching my face, shaving my beard. What do I do? I don't know how to react. This is the first time it's happened. What do I do? It's like leans you back. And you're like, okay.
Do I punch him or just stay still? Wow, man. So another question I thought might be an interesting one is, I mean, because you've played under multiple MGOs. Do you for you personally? Has there been a real difference in the playstyle between playing Inventus? I think in-game leader there was crucial if I recall correctly, and playing under Zero Chance at F3, and of course now you're playing under Z-Drag at Aperture. I mean, what are the differences in playstyle there?
If I were to sum it up kind of quickly, Ventus was crucial, saw a lot of gaps he liked to take, aggressively. He saw opportunity and he would definitely tell people go there. James is honestly the best mid-round caller I've ever experienced. Like he would call a mid-round call, and in my mind I'd be like, that is completely stupid. Why would you do that? We would literally walk into a bomb site with one or no person there at all. Like at the beginning, it was very weird. It's very weird. Z-Drag is heavily disciplined, trigger discipline. He doesn't like to rush things, but he doesn't like to rush things, but sometimes when he sees an opportunity, he's the one rushing, and he's like, "Come, guys, come!" And we're like, "I thought we felt the hold." He's like, "I don't care. I found a hole. Let's go." And next moment, you just see him running, he's bolting down mid and cash, just like straight into Zig, and you're like, "No smokes, no flash." He's just running it, and he's like, "Okay, cool. Let's follow him." So they're definitely all three have their own unique styles. I did really enjoy Zero Chance's mid-round calls. They were incredible, and now that he's the coach as well, it's gonna be it's going to be something to watch Big Five personally.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting one.
Because as I said, James will watch all the players. He likes to see patterns, and then he works off the patterns and just what he thinks the opponents can do. And he's a very good mid-round caller. That's why it would be nice to have him as a coach, that he's able to, when they take those pause, he can tell them exactly, you should be doing this, you should be doing this, you should be doing this. D-Drag calls a strat, calls default strats, which is kind of what we needed in Aperture. We went to the Masters Cup with Crucify as our IGR, but we all sort of like pitched in. But we didn't. We had 1 or 2 defaults on like maybe 3 maps for the entire event. We pugged the hell out of that. To be honest, at some points we didn't know what we were doing. Fun fact: we had no idea what we were doing on Overpass. Not once did we know what we were doing. Like, we don't know what we're doing, but it's working, so keep doing it. Like, we went through this once. We spoke about this once, like a month ago, but let's do it. It's at work. And still today, Overpass is a very good map for us. Now, ZJ's gone more in depth with it, so we've become a lot more consistent on it and good performances on it. We actually still don't know why we play Overpass well, or we play Overpass well and it works for us, but we just keep playing it.
And it's got a lot of depth to it as well. So, given some time, I'm sure, you guys along with Z-Drake will learn more defaults, more ways of approaching it, because it is one of the most tactical maps if you want it to be. So that's a good one, actually, because I think too many SA teams try to take on the very top guys on Cash and Train, and it's not that good of an idea. So,
it's always fun because, Z-Drag was in DC, so he always has DC scrum us, and he loves pushing Cash for us to play. And recently, we've actually done really well against DC on that map, which is actually very surprising since that LAN we got 3 rounds.
Yeah, that is. I mean,
might have been 2 actually.
They've always been kings of Cash. And until obviously BVD and Energy recently.
Yeah, so it's quite nice to contest them on that map. I think it was only a scrim though, so you can't really take too much away from that, but we did end at 16-13 against them. We just lost. And then we played Inferno next.
And yeah, we know how Inferno goes against DC.
Yeah, well, we got 16-11 against them.
Well, that's better than I would have expected, actually. So,
and we don't play Inferno for one person. Diver has no FPS on that map, but he actually got his PC today, so now you can play Inferno.
Oh yeah,
we can play maps that require you to have a decent PC.
The map pool has opened up thanks to Diver's FPS.
You have no idea. That's a different story entirely.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
So, I mean, what are the prospects for APG for? I mean, I think the next tournament will be OCS for you guys.
OCS we feel we won't be completely ready for because of the December holidays. We still now consistently practice a lot and we scrim a lot, but we feel with Zedra coming in, we've redone a lot as well because now we actually have defaults and strats going into things with set executes. So it's grinding those, dry running those consistently. So we feel we'll put up a formidable fight at OCS, but we don't feel we'll be at full strength yet. We feel it will only come after that a few more months.
Okay, well, cool. I'm glad to hear you guys are putting in the work and you're feeling good about it because ultimately the team needs to feel good about every piece of the team, about the direction and all of that. And I think APG's been in pieces a lot of times this year because of various personnel changes and things, and it's made it difficult because there were great results in the middle of the year at VS Masters, and then everything else has been very, very variable in terms of lineup. So I really hope you guys do stay together for a while. I mean, with Z-Drag there, you guys are going to improve and get better at listening to his call style, and he'll learn how to work with you guys. So I'm excited to see what the prospects are. For everybody watching, we're going to be casting a Energy versus WOG game pretty soon in the next 5 minutes. So I think we'll probably sign off here. Is there any last thing you want to say there, Mr. Shiz?
Thanks for having me. It was actually quite fun. I was nervous doing this, I won't lie, because I was wondering what the topics were going to be, especially after everything that happened today. I was just like, I was a little worried. That people will be going at each other in the chat, or
Nah, man.
questions will be answered.
People
So it's
are
been
lacquer.
actually really calm, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
No, it was actually really nice.
Don't be an oversized church bench. Be lacquer is just the the overall approach, and I think people in general are cool. So definitely no Twitter war here. But I appreciate you being here, man, and appreciate you guys watching. We're going to be switching over to the cast in the next few minutes, so you can the stream will go off and then come back on again, because of course I need to retitle it and change a few things and whatever, and obviously Profeci needs to hit his internet with a hammer. So we'll be back in a bit. But Shiz, I really appreciate you being here. I really appreciate everybody watching, and we'll see you guys in about 5 minutes for Energy versus WRG in ESEA. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks out.